In the news tonight, we Gatherin, a powerful reminder of what's important. Local soldiers joining the relief effort in Jamaica. Quick actions saved the NISS building from a potentially disastrous fire. And in sports, Foundation and Harrison College take BSSAC cross-country honors.
The headline news is brought to you by National Transformation Initiative, shaping the Starbajan.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Lisa Broom. Thank you so much for tuning in. In our top story tonight, Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley says we Gatherin continues to serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of unity, family and community engagement across Barbados. She was speaking following a ceremony at State House earlier today where 50 people from the parish of St. Michael were conferred with the We Gatherin 2025 Pride of Barbados Awards.
Even before COVID came, the bottom line is that even before COVID came, we understood the necessity for communities and families to bond, both within the country and those coming from outside. And that's why we set the target in 2020. Little did we know that COVID would have come and upset the whole apple cart, but also made it even more important after years of restricted activity for people to bond and to move around, again, both internally in the country and, as I said, from outside.
The Prime Minister revealed that in the parish of St. Michael, where her constituency is located, special sessions of reasoning and reflection will be held to engage especially the youth.
The bottom line is that this creates energy at the level of the community in spaces and places that you and I will never even see as well. Apart from the marquee events, apart from the other engagements that are intergenerational. And I've asked, as you know, specifically in St. Michael, that we don't only deal with the celebrations, but we do some reasoning and reflections. And I intend next week and week after to be engaged in those across the parish, particularly with the younger people. And I look forward to that engagement because this is a time to listen and this is a time to engage and this is a time to build common purpose, because as Bajans, if we are not doing that and we're not doing that, we're not doing this together, then we're going to find that whatever we could achieve is cut in half or cut in a quarter or cut in a third.
And with celebrations wrapping up in all 11 parishes, Ms. Motley says December will mark We Gatherin Barbados, a month to unite the entire nation.
Now that we've completed the 11 parishes by the end of this month, December is about We Gatherin in the whole country. And I want that spirit to take us from St. Lucie to Christchurch and St. Philip, from St. John to St. James, across the entire country. December must be We Gatherin Barbados. And secondly, December, ironically on this occasion, it won't be in 2030, but on this occasion, December 1st marks the first day towards the journey to 60.
Now, regarding the We Gatherin 2025 Pride of Barbados Awards, the spirit of community pride filled the air for that ceremony of national recognition. Deanza Roberts was there.
50 deserving citizens from the parish of St. Michael received recognition for their exceptional service, from sports and culture to education, mentorship and philanthropy. This ceremony was a reminder that nation building starts in communities. Member of Parliament for St. Michael South, Marsha Carroll, says the honorees represents the best of what St. Michael has given to Barbados.
I'm very pleased that we are doing these Pride of Barbados Awards for all of the We Gatherin activities. For St. Michael in particular, the President and the Prime Minister both said it, that it is amazing to be able to choose from among 100,000 people who have been outstanding, because you know that this is not the full complement, even across the 4 ceremonies this week. You know that this is not the full complement of people who have contributed in St. Michael. I'm a St. Michael girl and a St. Michael MP. And I grew up connected to people who didn't need any recognition, who weren't looking for any recognition, much like the people we've honored this morning, but who understood their role in keeping families and communities together.
Among the awardees were coaches, community leaders, entrepreneurs, and volunteers, all contributing to the social fabric of their neighborhoods and the wider country. Geoffrey Cardle, known to many as Biggie Irie, was among the awardees.
Just keep doing good things, keep recording good music. Make sure that you are a good person. Just keep doing well. Just keep doing good, doing great things, and you will be rewarded greatly.
Antoinette Chandler was awarded for her outstanding dedication to empowering persons living with limb loss. An amputee herself, she does not allow that to limit her.
I am the Secretary-Treasurer for RISA, the Rehabilitating Enabling Society for Amputees. Our aim is to get fellow amputees back into the country, back into the way of doing things, right? I think amputation is something that is very, very big in Barbados. And some people just don't want to leave home or get involved. But you should come back out. You should get back into the society and live the life that you are given.
President of Barbados, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Mason, conferred the awards, commending the honorees for their selfless contribution and lifelong dedication to uplifting others. The ceremony marks the first in a series of national parish recognitions for St. Michael. Tianza Roberts, CBC News.
The Barbados Defense Force is deploying a team with a field medical hospital to hurricane-ravaged Jamaica. Chief of Staff Brigadier Carlos Lovell says the hospital will provide emergency healthcare services to Jamaicans who are still suffering since the Category 5 Hurricane Melissa caused massive destruction on October 28th. The personnel will come from the military, public and private healthcare facilities. Brigadier Lovell spoke about the mission, which is themed Helping Hands, during a press conference this morning.
The expected duration of this deployment will be from the 18th of November to the 18th of December. The government of Jamaica has requested the Field Medical Hospital to be in country for approximately 4 weeks. Over that 4 weeks, you will see a rotation of 2 staffing complements of 70 persons each. So in total, you will have between 140 to 150 Barbadians and persons from across the Eastern Caribbean who will staff the Field Medical Hospital.
The mission is being undertaken in close coordination with the Ministries of Health in Barbados and Jamaica, the Jamaica Defense Force, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, as well as a number of other local and regional organizations. Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. Arthur Phillips is assuring Barbadians that medical capacity at home will not be compromised by the deployment.
The Ministry of Health has carefully reviewed the names, the categories of staff, the duration of the rotations in order to ensure that essential services within our health system will continue uninterrupted. Certainly the Ministry of Health fully supports the humanitarian effort, and we've been working closely with our colleagues in the Barbados Defense Force to ensure the readiness and efficient deployment of the team.
A brief scare at the National Insurance and Social Security Service this morning after a fire broke out on one of the solar panels on the building. However, a quick response from fire officers prevented what could have been a disastrous situation. We get more in this report.
Reports are that around 11:30 a.m., alarms sounded across the National Insurance Office and the Ministry of Labour, prompting immediate evacuation of staff. Chief Executive Officer at the NISS, Kim Judah, says it stemmed from solar panels on the building.
When we vacated the building, we found that one of the solar panels on the east end, there was a small fire emanating from that and smoking. So we certainly had to evacuate. All staff from all 3 offices here evacuated, and 2 fire tenders attended the scene. The fire tenders attended that we should move from our assembly point, which is by the statue here, close to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, over to Charleston Park, and this is where we assembled to give them space to move. They quickly extinguished the small fire, and the installators of the solar panels were summoned to the scene.
She says the solar panels were removed and an assessment of the damage was done by the officers. The CEO confirmed that operations at the NISS will resume during regular business hours tomorrow.
We will, for the abundance of caution and given the smell that can come from these kinds of electrical fires, we have closed the office today. So for the public who is seeking to do business with NIS will remain closed for today. We should be reopened at the regular scheduled business hours tomorrow. So the fire service is now leaving the scene, and we have now given the all clear that we can retrieve our cars from the car park and so forth. So thankfully all is well at present here at the NIS.
Ms. Truder says the panels should be functional by the end of the week. Deanza Roberts, CBC News.
The rationale behind the government's move to become a member of the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean was underscored in the Upper House of Parliament today. It came during the second reading of the Development Bank of Latin America and the Caribbean Bill 2025. Senator Dr. Chantal Munro-Knight, Minister in the Prime Minister's office, pointed out that it will provide government with some fiscal space in the event of an emergency.
As we move from Series C shares to Series A shares, allowing us to become full members of the bank, that government does that with the understanding, with the knowledge, and because we have worked to do it, that the economy is growing and that we then are able to balance the investment, which is a long-term investment, Mr. President, against the fact that we are doing well. Mr. President, I said we all make choices at the individual level, the household level, about what it is that we can go to the bank for, what it is that we can be able to repay. And in this instance, the government has looked also as well at what we can do and what is necessary, Mr. President, the what if. Mr. President, if you're a woman, you would say, Mr. President, we got some vex money. That's how I grew up. I grew up with my father, because my mother wasn't there so much, but my father always used to say, girl, you got vex money. Something in your back pocket just in case something don't work out. And Mr. President, so that we have to look at this investment as a little of that.
Dr. Munro-Knight further explained how the bank will assist Barbados.
What we are doing, Mr. President, is opening up financing, and not just any type of financing, but financing that is flexible and financing that is responsive, but also financing that is available sometimes in areas that other traditional partners don't want to go, Mr. President. And it is not only financing, but also technical assistance. Again, because when we talk about the bank, immediately we go to loans, Mr. President, we want to borrow more money. But CAF also provides significant technical assistance in critical areas.
And coming up after the break, some ambitious projects planned to improve the QEH. Stay with us. The 61-year-old Queen Elizabeth Hospital is set to make massive strides over the next 18 months. Word of this from Chief Executive Officer Neil Clark. Speaking on CBC TV8's Morning Barbados, Mr. Clark listed some of the hospital's accomplishments since he took up office a year and a half ago. But he also mentioned some ambitious projects that will be rolled out over the next 18 months.
We are going computerized. That's going to be a game changer in the way we can treat patients, real-time information, right available to the doctors immediately to make real-time decisions. We're turning on the linear accelerator in the next week. We're ordering an MRI machine, $130 million of new equipment to replace all the old equipment in the hospital. You'd have heard a $400 million extension across the road on the Enmo site. Nearly 300 more new staff. So an amazing journey in the first 18 months of my tenure here, and I'm really looking forward to the next 18 months as we modernise the QEH and make it that great hospital again.
Mr. Clark admits the hospital continues to investigate and deal with complaints against staff members. He says to address that issue, the hospital's management will be facilitating training for staff in the area of interpersonal skills.
One of the things that we'll be pushing into next year is really trying to train the staff in mindset, emotional intelligence and awareness. That they choose their attitude, they choose how they respond to maybe a patient or a family member who might be being a little bit aggressive because they're scared. They're vulnerable and scared. We don't have to return fire with fire, we can return fire with love. And that's a piece of work that we've got to do with our team.
Police are investigating an unnatural death. According to lawmen, officers at Operations Control received a report of a disturbance at a residence along Marlhole Gap Halls Road, St. Michael on Monday, November 11th, 2025, about 10:16 p.m. Initial investigations have revealed there was an altercation at the residence between two male relatives, resulting in one receiving injuries. Ambulance personnel responded to the scene and transported the victim to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The deceased has been identified as 63-year-old David Leacock of Marlhole Gap, Halls Road, St. Michael. A suspect is currently in police custody assisting with investigations. Now, lawmen are appealing to anyone who can provide information pertaining to this incident to contact Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-8477, Police Emergency at 211, or Central Police Station at 430-7676 or 430-7176. A sociologist is suggesting that many young people are not seeing value in themselves. Anthropology professor at the University of Manitoba, Warren Clark, says this is one of the main reasons why some of the island's youth are getting involved in less than wholesome activities. Professor Clark, who has been going into schools interacting with students and teachers, said young people are trapped in a colonial way of learning, which is not affording them the skills they need to be advantageous to their communities. And he wants to see young people exposed to experiential learning. He too was speaking on CBC TV 8's Morning Barbados.
Yesterday we were at one of the schools and we were having the same dialogue, and one of the questions we posed to the students was that, what does it mean to be a respectable man? And one of the young people said, to be a respectable man is to kill another man, right? Like, with hearing that, it's heartbreaking, right? Hearing that to dehumanize somebody while dehumanizing yourself, you're not seeing the potential in self. So I think we have to really start thinking critically about, okay, what is necessary to educate these young men or these young people in ways that they can see the value within themselves. Because right now, many of them are not seeing value in themselves, and they're only seeing value in doing something that's violent or negative within our communities.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
It's time for sports, and Damien Best is here with the details. Good evening, Damien.
Yeah, good evening to you, Lisa. Good evening to all viewers and listeners. Well, Christchurch Foundation in the girls and Harrison College in the boys had the top honors at the Dasani Power 8 BSSAC cross-country relays at Commonwealth School today. Foundation won with 57 points, with the St. Michael's School second on 55 and Commonwealth third on 45. In the boys, College won with 53 points ahead of Commonwealth 51 and the St. Michael's School 47 points. CBC's Amory Burke reports.
It was all about endurance, teamwork, and school pride as students took to the course at the Commonwealth School for this year's BSSAC Cross Country Relay Championships. And we start with the first form boys. This is actually the final handover of the 6 athletes. And you could say home turf advantage was working here. Yale Renwick Williams on anchor for the Commonwealthians. And you could say it was almost a done deal. Here he comes all alone, sealing the deal for his teammates Kyra Watson, Larry Messiah, Caden Wilkinson, Jace McLean, and Amir Watts. He walks over the line to claim the win. 16 schools off the lane in the under-15 girls race, and immediately Zajara Lane positioned the girls from Christchurch Foundation to the front of the pack. A bit of jumbling saw the athlete from Dighton Griffith take a fall, but it was a good recovery and she was up and off again. And that lead extended to a major gap as Lane really set her team in prime position, handing off to Haley Nurse. At this point, St. George were in second and Combermere in third, with St. Michael's School tracking them. The foundation was in a race all their own, and by this time it was now Sorel and Misson, your third runner, and that lead got wider and wider. Ershan Ned was on the fourth flag, and with that cool, calm confidence, the girls from Churchill were in a worry-free zone. What we did miss was that Layla McIntyre ran a masterful third leg for Harrison College that moved them from 7th to 2nd, while the girls from St. Michael's School were comfortable in that third spot. Actually, the lead changed twice. First Harrison College and then Foundation, and here we go to the final. Still anyone's for the taking. Foundation, SMS, College. We will see how it goes and how it will shape up as they head out to the outer part of the course. And as the girls returned and were in the final meters, the battle was on. Foundation, SMS, surged ahead, Foundation on her shoulder, and the star girl for Foundation was Zendaya Burke, and she had the final say. The SMS athlete actually stopped short, thinking she had crossed the line, and watched for the heartbreak. No amount of egging on moved her, and here comes the athlete from College to nip her on the line for a second. What a topsy-turvy of a race. Full field for the under-15 boys. Again, the Churchill clan took early command. That's Leandre Goodin. Second, Hanover and Deshae Archer that continued in that same vein. He maintained that lead and the win will be theirs. In between there was Caleb Hines, Nikhil Freeman, and on anchor here, lapping the Alexandra athlete Dominic Duncan. And like the girls, the under-15 boys side who will be on the bus headed back to Foundation School. Harrison College were in second and SMS in third. Senior girls now and some of the island's best distance runners were on this first leg for their various schools. 12 schools going in this race, Combermere surging to the front. While Alexandra had their queen bee in that opening leg, Ashlyn Simmons, and no surprise right behind her, Princess Margaret's Lachey Wilkinson, or Carif the athletes. But remember, it's 6 athletes to compete this relay, and best believe this lineup would change. And it happened on this fourth leg. Alexandra still had a slight lead, but Combermere's Shanicia Bray was about to blow things up, and within a few meters she had reeled the Alexandra athlete in and establishing the lead. She had passed off to Zaria Gittins, and then it was Naima Taylor who had just to sign off in the win. Combermere are the senior girls cross-country relay champions. The other 3 athletes were Taryn Sunderland, Savannah Thorne, and Crystal Bentham. The curtain came down with the action-packed senior boys race that saw St. George Secondary leading the charge at the completion of the first leg, right behind Alexandra and St. Leonard's boys. Second leg, Alexandra snatched the lead, and it looked enough daylight between them and St. George to sit comfortably. But we know a lot can change over this distance, and I want you to take note of College, who's now in third with Ada Moore on this leg. And why I said to take note is because he had done enough to pass Terrell Johnson-Rouse, putting College now in the driver's seat. St. George dropped to second, with St. Leonard's boys still there. And while Moore did great to hand over first, Jamario Mallet of St. George took off with intent. So much intent that he held the lead, but College then had Zachary Wall, and he was pitted against Jamal Joseph. Now we felt the tussle brewing, and that paved the way for this battle on the final leg. Shamari Greenwich-Lewis and Duncan of Harrison College, who would be your winners. Greenwich-Lewis made his move and he never looked back. St. George are senior boys champions. His other teammates were Caden Clark and Shavari Greenwich-Lewis. 6 races, 3 divisions, and loads of talent at the BSSAC cross-country relays. Anne-Marie Burt, CBC Sports.
West Indies captain Shea Hope is backing his team to come good and level the 5-match T20 International Series against host New Zealand tonight. The teams will meet in the decisive final game at Dunedin from 8:15 Barbados time, with the Kiwis leading 2-1. Hope expressed disappointment at the weather, robbing his team of possibly winning the series after the 4th match was washed out. But he says the Windies remain determined to finish on a high.
The unfortunate reality is that we can't win this series, that last game that was rained out. But we still put ourselves in a position to finish on square terms. Sometimes when you go to foreign conditions and foreign places, sometimes you got to take what you get. But yeah, certainly 2-2 all will look a lot better than 3-1 to New Zealand. So that's something that we're certainly hoping for.
Connect, network, and elevate. That's the driving energy behind Business Baddies, an enterprise dedicated to the advancement of women in Barbados. It was founded by educator and attorney at law Carolyn Walters. Now, she sat down with our Trevor Thorpe to talk about it.
Carolyn Walters says Business Baddies originated from the challenge of balancing roles as an educator, an entrepreneur, and an attorney at law. She says the need for community and accountability paved the way for the business to emerge.
We are a group of seriously committed female entrepreneurs where we come together, we learn things like marketing, Facebook ads. We learn things about business, and we also motivate each other, and we hold each other accountable to reaching our goals.
Business Baddies offers a program whereby members are required to present business-related projects and support each other in achieving their set goals. This collaborative approach encourages networking, accountability, and mutual assistance among members, fostering business growth and success.
We usually meet on Sundays, but outside of Sundays, we communicate a lot via WhatsApp. We support each other like on Saturdays. So during the day, it will be WhatsApp because we work. Some have 9 to 5s, some are just full-time entrepreneurs. So we will just communicate via WhatsApp. On weekends now, we will meet up and we will go and support persons who may have food businesses, nail businesses, like that. On Sundays, though, is where we really have workshops, where we come together and we actually learn things that are hands-on and we implement those things one time in the workshop.
Kay's Delightful Treats, the baking arm of Business Baddies, supports local bakers, especially during peak times such as Easter, Independence Day, and Christmas. The feedback has been positive.
I'm doing a series called Holiday Hustle on my Instagram, dtreats246, where I'm helping other bakers, to prep early and don't wait until December. So what I am doing, I'm actually focusing on my cookies. So I'm selling gourmet cookie boxes for Christmas as well as cookie decorating kits.
The export market is in her sights and she has already held talks with Export Barbados. Trevor Thorpe for the Business Report.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Damien is back for the second half in sports. Damien, over to you.
Thanks so much, Lisa. Well, some weeks ago we reported on the damage caused by a group of lawless drivers on the Whitehall playing field in St. Peter, which serves as a vital hub for sports and community events. Well, a dedicated group of volunteers and local authorities are now working tirelessly to restore the space. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke has the follow-up.
This recent aerial view of the Whitehall playing field in St. Peter is a vastly contrasting view to the one we saw a few weeks ago, after a group of lawless individuals decided to make the then waterlogged field their playground, doing donuts with their cars, leaving a trail of destruction behind with the turf churned up and deep tire marks. This caused club members to find alternatives in using the field for their sporting and community activities. But it's pleasing to see that the youth footballers are back at training. Even as the restoration of the ground is in full swing, the children have returned to the field laughing, kicking balls, and enjoying the game they love. President of the Whitehall Football Academy, Simeon Alsop, expressed his gratitude to everyone who's helping, saying it's truly a team effort with local authorities, volunteers, and the community working together.
Enough thanks to the MTW who came out and made sure that they rolled the field, taking out all the deep marks left from the donuts that was done by the 2 vehicles on the field. We're now in the process of sanding, but the kids have started back playing on the field, and the National Sports Council has started the work to erect the pipes to barricade anyone from coming on the field going forward, and pipes and chain. So we are very thankful here at Whitehall for the support of the National Sports Council and the MTW and those members of the club who have started to help with the sanding process. I want to say a special thanks to the MP for the area, Minister Chad Blackman, who made sure that he came out and supported us and got this process moving swiftly.
With security systems being put in place to ensure that something like this does not reoccur, Allsop has this message.
And I want to say to the young people that the playing fields are not racetracks. They're not for cars. They're not for bikes. Please stay off of the playing field. If you want to be involved in positive activity, join one of the organizations in the area.
And I echo his sentiments, hoping that this not only sends a message to the people of Whitehall and the surrounding areas, but also reminds everyone that all our sporting facilities deserve respect and care, and that such occurrences will not happen again.
Yeah, thanks again, Anne-Marie. Finally, Cricket West Indies has unveiled their 15-man squad for the upcoming 3-match one-day international series against New Zealand, set to take place from November 16th to 22nd. Left-handed opener John Campbell makes his return to the ODI setup, replacing Brandon King. That West Indies ODI squad to face New Zealand reads Shea Hope, the skipper, Alec Athanaze, Akeem Ogis, John Campbell, Casey Carty, Roston Chase, Matthew Ford, Justin Graves, Amir Jangu, Johan Lane, Carrie Pierre, Shafin Rutherford, Jaden Seals, Romario Shepherd, and Shamar Springer.
Well, the Barbados Beach Soccer Championship finals will take place this Sunday on Browns Beach after weeks of exciting action on the shores of the island. And tonight we air the first of 2 features on that tournament.
Sun, sand and spectacular soccer. It's one of the biggest sporting showdowns of the year. The Barbados Beach Soccer Championship semi-finals and finals. The heat is rising as the island's top teams battle it out for glory right here on the beautiful shores of Browns Beach.
It feels really great to be back on the sand, getting something started again. And yeah, just all around being together with the guys, that camaraderie. Yeah, it's really good to be back up.
It will be a day of non-stop action, skill and pure Barbadian energy. Witness jaw-dropping goals, thrilling saves, and the heart-pounding excitement that only beach soccer can deliver. This Sunday, November 16th, bring your friends, your flags, and your beach vibes, because one of the island's most electrifying soccer festivals is about to climax as we aim to revive Barbados beach soccer and unearth new players who could reach the international level.
Government is committed to developing all sports on island, and the fact that we are restarting beach football and restarting it at this level is a clear indication as to where thinking is as it relates to developing the beach football.
We started with 28 teams and over 350 players, and now we're down to the final 4. It is more than just 3 matches. It's a new lifestyle and a pathway to success.
This beach soccer tournament conceptualized by the Ministry of Sport. We are so appreciative of it. I want you all, players and officials, to look at it as not only as having fun, being on the beach and the girls coming on a Sunday, but look at it as an opportunity, because you never know where this humble beginning can take you. I want you to know that Bermuda, a smaller country in the Caribbean, they went to a big soccer World Cup. If they can do it, we in Barbados can do it too.
Who will rise from the sand to be crowned kings of the beach? Find out at the Barbados Beach Soccer Championship, semi-finals and finals. Feel the heat, live the moment, experience Barbados Beach Soccer. This is an initiative of the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment.
The Prime Minister's Cup Goal of the Week, brought to you by Power In, Pauses Power, and by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
It was another week of several goals in the Prime Minister's Cup, but this was the best of them all. A rocket of a strike from Rashawn Speedy Gittins for Ellerton.
Ellerton then turned on the style, scoring 5 more times as Bagatell's defense completely fell apart. Started with Rashawn Gittins' power shot from just about 20 yards out.
Well, that's our news for tonight. On behalf of the entire team, thank you so much for tuning in. Good night.